had to get the last shot in there, Vince. You had to basically give this man, one last F you, or whatever you had in mind. You just had to. Vince, you just had to. Oh my gosh. What is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and I am here for a very quick stream. Well, not quick, hopefully be here for a few minutes, but I had the desire to do a stream tonight. I had, desire to talk about what I was interested in seeing that was supposed to be happening tonight. And that was Johnny Gargano's farewell from NXT. There are some fans, of course, speculating based off of what happened at the end of the show and the speech. Some are speculating he could be staying. I personally think, it's just my opinion, if you think he's staying, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with anybody, but personally, this was it. This had to be it, in my opinion. So, most of us know Johnny Gargano, we've heard for a few months now that his contract is set to expire in December. And apparently it expired just last week. But he signed a 1-week extension just so he can do the War Games match. So why would he only have do a 1-week extension if he had even like the slightest itch to stay a little longer? I mean, he could have changed his mind. You never know. If he does stay, we'll just go from there. But I personally think this was his swan song. Personally, it was. The guy was emotional. Again, he's coming out to Rebel Heart. He's coming out at War Games in like ring gear that like is a mix of like a lot of his past, takeover matches. The guy obviously was just celebrating his career and just trying to end his run at NXT on the highest note possible. So I personally gotta say though that to me, Johnny kind of lost my interest over the past year. I love Johnny Gargano. Gonna forever be one of my favorite babyface wrestlers. One of the best. One of the guys that really made you care. The fans that were there, from the video I saw from TakeOver after the show went off the air to the segment tonight at NXT 2.0, this shows that this is a man that no one truly ever wanted to boo. I get when they turned him heel last year to take a gamble at it, especially since he really had nothing left to do as a babyface and in general not much left to do in NXT at all. I get it. It was a good gamble. It didn't work for me. I did not like Johnny's heel run at all. So it seems like recently they did turn him back to being a babyface and had him feud and put over 2.0, and now it seems like he's on his way out. He clearly, of course, is getting a little bit beat up a little more and basically being written off on camera being hurt. So, Johnny's farewell speech tonight on NXT 2.0. He came out very emotional. He stated how heartbreaking this is. He talked about how important it was for him to be in NXT. How when he came in 2015, he was told straight to his face he would not be in NXT. But then I think he said he had like a dark match, I think it was, with Apollo Crews, and people were cheering Johnny wrestling after that. He was so popular that they had to sign him. They signed him and Tommaso Ciampa, which of course they didn't mention Ciampa. And the rest was history from there. Johnny Gargano, to me, besides maybe Becky Lynch, of course, is the last purebred babyface. Well, even though they made him a heel, but is the last purebred babyface we may ever see. The guy was just that good at making you care. The guy was just that good at building sympathy. The guy is just a genius when it comes to the art of wrestling, and the art of telling stories, and the art of just making you care. Like, even though his heel run did not succeed, he did his best. I'll give him credit, he tried his best, but I just hated it. And keep this in mind too. August 2019, after his feud with Adam Cole finished, you knew, and he even said it in his build for his match with Finn Balor for TakeOver Portland, you knew that was Johnny's moment to be called up. They had briefly had him on the main roster until Tommaso Ciampa got hurt before WrestleMania 35, but he said, I do not want to go to the main roster. He had no desires, and I do not blame him. He went on to the main roster. Yes, his heel run, definitely not wore him out, but just, faded him out a little bit, I feel like. I mean, yes, he was North American champion for a good reign, but, like I said, it didn't feel like it did much. Like I said, I didn't like Johnny as a heel. I did not think his heel character worked whatsoever. Excuse me. But it eventually turns out being a babyface and this and that. But he got the call in August. He was supposed to go up in August of 2019. That was his time to go up, but he chose to stay. Even though, like I said, I didn't like the heel run, he still did his best to put over many, many talents along the way, and especially with his reign as North American champion for 6 months. But on this show, again, he was just like saying how appreciative he was. Talking about how he grew up being like an 8-year-old chubby kid who was a fan of wrestling. How he's always had a lot of self-confidence issues. About how he just wanted to make things right. He just wanted to be the best and everything, and which of course is again something we don't see too often. And he was doing this excellent speech. He never said, of course, that he was leaving NXT. He said it, but he basically implied it, saying how sometimes there comes time for a change. Now, I get why a lot of people also think he's staying, because he spent a good part of the final portion of his speech talking about how in February he starts a new job, and that is becoming a father. Which he's supposed to be having a son, from what it sounds like. And he was just going on and on and on how excited he was and everything, until what happened at the end happened. But from that, I can understand why people think he may be going on just, on leave to, help Candace get ready for the baby. But if he was doing that, why would he not still sign a long-term deal? Why would he have also only signed just a 1-week extension? That's why I'm pretty convinced that Johnny is leaving. And I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this. I definitely think he can go to AEW. I personally want him to go to AEW because of the one match I've been dying to see, that I've literally been seeing the chances for WWE to do it for ages. They just didn't do it. Johnny Gargano and Bryan Danielson. It's a dream match to mine. Those two, just know how to make people care. I think they'll put on a wrestling clinic if they do get to collide, if Johnny does go to AEW. But, here's what I'm going to rant about. I did not like how they ended the segment tonight. Again, your last purebred babyface, one of the last pieces of the original NXT, before it's completely swamped by NXT 2.0. Which, newsflash, this is the first time I had turned on NXT since TakeOver 36. I almost watched War Games this past Sunday, but I did not. I would have, though, if anyway, friends were available, not the worm. What was I going with this? But this is the first time I had watched NXT 2.0 since it began. And I only watched it for 40 minutes, and I hated it. The set design, the generic music, the scripted promos. You look at and it's not just a new era. It's this contagious disease called Vince McMahon that just is spreading like crazy in the company. Like, NXT is almost completely empty of the stars that Triple H made. Only guys like Roderick Strong, Tommaso Ciampa, Io Shirai and whatnot. Those are the only ones that still remain. And who I still feel like has done one of the best jobs in NXT and given NXT the attention because he, of course, carried the company as the purebred babyface, as I always say. Instead of letting him leave on a happy note, they had to have Grayson Waller come out and attack him. And basically go off camera with him being laid out. After the cameras, of course, went off the air, we see apparently Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano sit in the ring together, and Kyle O'Reilly joins them as it looks like he's on his way out too. Apparently, he had his match with Von Wagner, and he lost. After the match, he did, shake the crowd's hands, acknowledge it. So I think he's done too. As there's been rumors about his contract expiring in December also. But, come on. You had to go into business for yourself, Vince. All you care about is these new guys that are coming. You don't care about these guys who are getting out. So, he had to just put heat on Grayson Waller, yet he made Johnny, just destroyed before leaving. That's basically him saying, screw you, Gargano, for not choosing to stay. I'm going to ruin your farewell address. What I would have taken, though, was the fact that they could have had Gargano get attacked, like I said, and then have Tommaso Ciampa come out and save Gargano, and that'd be like the final time when these two are sharing a ring together, well, in NXT at least, and they basically, bury the hatchet and make up from, their rivalry, basically. That would have been good. But instead, they had to use someone random like Grayson Waller to put over Johnny Gargano. Have Johnny put him over on his way out the door. They couldn't just let him leave on top of the world, on fire, grateful, and all that stuff. No, NXT would have done that. NXT 2.0, though, sadly does not. So I wasn't happy with that. And then, let me just say this. I watched 40 minutes of NXT, and all I wanted was just begging for them to get to Johnny's farewell speech. Nothing interested me. Other than the fact that Mandy Rose, of course, now has darker hair, which I've noticed for quite a while, but just haven't said anything, so I don't watch NXT anymore. But how is Mandy Rose getting a push? Doesn't even have any blonde hair whatsoever. It's just like the stage just looks cheap. The graphics aren't that great. The music feels so generic for whoever they have. And Johnny leaving, like I said, to me it just puts a nail in the coffin. The only originals for the men that are left I can think of, again, are Tommaso Ciampa, who was supposed to leave the same time as Johnny, but because Ciampa was hurt in 2019, they added 7 months onto his contract. What else is there? There's just, like I said, it's just, NXT's just not the same anymore. It's not home. It's not the A show anymore. It's not. And it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate this is the way they had to send off Johnny, but, like I said, he's going to do great wherever he goes, where, of course, it's wrestling, and, of course, him being a daddy as well. And, yes, I do see, we got, Dakota. What's up, Dakota? He asked me if I think O'Reilly's leaving. Yeah, I think O'Reilly's leaving also. But yeah, I mean, I understand your point. He could be, taking some time off, as he basically implied more of that with the baby coming up. But I just see there's nothing left for him to do to NXT. Even these new guys, again, no one catches my eye. Well, except for one male wrestler, and that's Carmelo Hayes. He actually does interest me. I do see him being big if Vince pushes him right. Other than that, that's really it. Like I said, it's just the end of an era. NXT to me died a quick and sudden death this year. It feels like the moment Jeff Hardy pinned Karrion Kross in his Raw debut, it was over. It was over, and they never recovered. And now you have basically Vince's contagious playground disease, whatever you want to call it, spreading its way to NXT now, and now NXT feels like it's invaded by a bunch of stars that only Vince would care about. So, obviously, Vince doesn't want any 30-year-old small people working for his company, so why would he even try so hard to re-sign Johnny? You know, he knows how Johnny is amazing, and wherever he goes, which could be AEW, could be Impact. I'm so hoping AEW because I really want to see him and Bryan Danielson and so many others. He can even like reunite his feuds with from NXT and all over the world. But again, it's just pathetic how they had to literally, get heat on Grayson Waller instead of just letting Johnny just celebrate with the crowd as he should have. And like I said, NXT is just dead. Watching the 40 minutes I saw of the show, all I saw was the fact there was Mandy Rose in her stable. Cora Jade's trying to challenge her next to tell you, no, she's hurt in a sling, it looks like. Gosh, there's a couple other things too. But, yeah, I this did not get me interested at all in what's to come for NXT. Really hasn't. But that's gonna do it, guys. I just want to hear her talk for a few minutes. I'm getting pretty tired. So yeah, if you watch this video afterwards, what are your thoughts on Johnny Gargano? And do you think he's leaving NXT? Do you think he's staying? Is there any other superstars that NXT actually care for? If not, then, why not? Or which ones do you care for? Just make sure to leave those thoughts down in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirBonnie3. With that, guys, I'm checking out. I'm going to sleep. I talk more, but I'm tired. I'm checking out. Have a great rest of your night, folks, and peace out, everybody.